Okay, excuse the noise in the background. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the full velocity range of some 22 rounds that I use in my Browning Buckmark. And I'm going to start from the lowest velocity and go to the highest. But I'm also going to show you the Chrony readings that I did. I did 3 rounds and I took the round that was the highest out of the 3. And plus or minus 25 feet per second for most of these rounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the lowest velocity and then go up to the highest. And then also along with that, I've included the energy so that you guys know what kind of energy these rounds are producing. Now this one here, I just singly load these in the magazine, the Browning Buckmark. This is Aguila Calibra. This is 20 grains, and the velocity is 350 feet per second, and the energy is 5.44 foot-pounds. The energy is it's a little bit more than, say, like your 10 pump 177 air gun, kind of like your 1377 Crossman, or the Crossman, the one that's in the 22 version. That one's about 6 foot-pounds. So this right here, it replicates something like that in a Browning Buckmark with a 5 1/4 inch barrel. I think mine's about 5 1/4, close to that. So this is the low end of the spectrum, 350 feet per second, 5.44 foot-pounds. And then the next, I made a video on how to load these. You just use one of them. This is the Cci short. CB short. And if you notice the carton here or whatever, if it says 710, that's for rifles. So we're just talking pistols here. 29 grains. And we've got 496 feet per second, 15.85 foot-pounds. That's about a medium-powered air rifle, spring piston air rifle. The medium-powered ones will produce about 15 foot-pounds of energy in 177. So what you're doing is you're changing it into a spring piston air rifle when you use these rounds. And these ones are pretty quiet too. Well, they have a little cracking sound, but these ones especially are the quietest. Sound more like a cap gun, I would think. The next one, Cci Standard Velocity, 40 grain, 955 feet per second, 81.03 foot-pounds of energy. And then the next one is the Winchester M22 Subsonic 45 grain. And I did feel a little bit of recoil with this one. I noticed that it's 45 grains, but yeah, you could feel something with this one, a little bit of recoil. But not anything bad or anything, but you just notice it when it goes off. 981 feet per second, 96.18 foot-pounds. So almost getting up there to 100 foot-pounds for that one. And then this Fiocchi right here, this is 40 grain, 1042 feet per second, 96.46 foot-pounds of energy. And then the next one is Federal Premium High Velocity Match. This is one of my favorite loads right here because it's lead and it's got the high velocity, but it keeps it subsonic, so you don't have that transition of the bullet too early for longer range shooting. Transition from Mach speed down to subsonic, which in my state with my altitude and air pressure and humidity and all that stuff, if you want to be over scientific about it, is about 1125 feet per second to break the sound barrier in Minnesota here. So once again, 1057 feet per second, 99.26 foot-pounds of energy. And this one here is probably rated at 1200 feet per second for a 20-inch barrel. So this gives you guys an idea of what it'll do on a 5 1/4 inch barrel. Okay, now we've taken care of the subsonic, and when I say subsonic, I mean in a pistol. Now some of these right here might go to mock level if they're in a rifle. So getting them out of the way, now we're going breaking the sound barrier right here, these three right here in this Buckmark. So, all right, so what we got here is Cci Velocity 22 long rifle. This is 40 grains, and the carton says 1435, and we're getting 1150 out of the Buckmark, so 117.49 foot-pounds of energy. So we're getting into 32 caliber energy territory, or just on the edge. 117 foot-pounds of energy, 0.49. Okay, and then the next one is 22 Super Maximum Aguila, 30 grains, almost 100 foot-pounds, real close. Let's just call it 100. 1225 feet per second. So actually, the next one here I'm going to show you. You guys are probably familiar with this one here, Cci Stinger, 32 grains, 1640 for a 20-inch barrel probably. And this one here is 1246 feet per second at 110.34 foot-pounds. And if you look here, the velocity is higher in the Stinger, even though it's rated at 1640, and this one's rated at 1700. This one's higher. But like I said, give or take plus or minus 25 feet per second, because it's not a perfect 10-shot string that I was doing. And every barrel is different. Even if you have a Buckmark, two different Buckmarks are going to have slightly different barrels, so it's going to affect the velocity a little bit sometimes. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about higher velocity. When you break the sound barrier, what's happening is at a certain distance, depending on where you're shooting out to, that bullet is going to drop from its Mach speed down to subsonic. And when it does that, there's a pressure wave behind the bullet. If you guys ever took your boat to the dock and shut off the motor, and then your boat gets close to the dock and all of a sudden you get hit by your own wave that you just made from the back end, that's kind of like what happens to a bullet. Now, not all bullets, but a lot of bullets, when they transition from Mach speed down to subsonic, can have some problems with accuracy. And the next thing I wanted to say is I like shooting stuff that's under 1125 feet per second, preferably right around 10-something feet per second, which would be something like this one here, because it keeps that bullet subsonic. It's match grade. And the best part about it that I like about these is it's still lead. It's still lead. And one of the things people have to understand about lead and copper bullets is lead has lead compared to copper. Copper has a lot more friction in the barrel than lead does. So the resistance coefficient, if you look up resistance coefficient between lead and copper, copper has a lot more of an effect in a barrel. So, for instance, if you're shooting rapid all the time, cheap bulk ammo and stuff like that, copper plated, depending on how much you shoot, if you're just going crazy all the time with heat and friction and not allowing the barrel to cool down and stuff like that, what you're doing is you're burning out your rifling is what you're doing. Okay, I had to cut out part of the video, the first one I did, because I made a mistake when I was talking. What I was talking about is why I like subsonic, or under 1125 feet per second. And it's because a couple of reasons. Number one is you don't have to go from that Mach speed down to subsonic. Some bullets, not all, are going to experience that turbulence of coming down from that, whereas these are coming out and they're subsonic, so they're going to stay that way. But another thing I wanted to talk about is the reason why I try to shoot more lead than anything is because lead is easier on the barrel than copper. So it's just a proven fact. Resistance coefficients of metals. And the other thing I'd like to talk about is the thing about barrel life. Some guys will take a Browning Buckmark and they'll just go bang, ba bang, 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 ba bang, bang, bang. Heat and friction are the things that mess up your barrel. You know, if you're just going crazy and you're never letting the barrel cool off, you're shooting bulk ammo, copper-plated bulk ammo all the time, just going nuts. It's just physics. It's going to wear the barrel out faster, the rifling in the barrel. So that's something you guys have to understand is, do you really need to do crazy rapid fire? Yeah, it's good to have speed skills and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's nice once in a while just to take the time to get accurate. And, you know, you might have another weapon for your self-defense, like a 9mm or something else, or maybe you do have a 22. But the thing is that me personally, if I'm not, you know, I don't carry my Buckmark 22, you know, for defense because I've got a LCP and a couple other handguns I like to carry. But the thing is that for my 22, that allows me to use it as an accuracy, fun gun, you know, something that I can be accurate with and do challenges at long ranges and stuff like that. So I'm not really into speed shooting with the 22 Buckmark. I love accuracy. I love prolonging barrel life. And any pistol I got, I don't care if it's $200-300. I just like to preserve that accuracy. So what I'm telling you guys is you can make up your mind. You know, sometimes you'll have to make up your mind between, you know, running a bunch of bulk ammo, copper plated, and just going crazy and just going ba-bang, ba-bang, bang, bang. Never letting, you know, the pistol cool down, never cleaning it, you know, that kind of thing. And that's one of the things people don't understand about 22 long rifle is if you guys have ever been out on the range with some people that have shot, say, like even just 100 rounds of good ammo, like CCI or something like that. CCI works best for me for the most part. There are some federal brands that work pretty good. But if you fire, say, 100, 200 rounds of 22 long rifle in a Browning Buckmark or your Ruger or whatever, the more rounds you fire, you're going to get carbon inside the throat where the bullet chambers itself. And the thing is, you have to understand that, you know, you get that fouling in there, that carbon and stuff like that. So that shell wants to eject, and sometimes it'll get sticky in there, or the bullet won't seat forward all the way. And that's because what you're doing is you're not realizing that with 22 long rifle, you know, you're going to get a lot of carbon buildup. So what I would do is fire, you know, a few mags and then just at the range just have a quick mop where you can run it through and scrub it up a little bit. Doesn't take that long. And be careful of the crown of the barrel. And I'll show you that here. A lot of people don't talk about this, but the crown of the barrel is the most important right here. You don't want any metal touching that crown. If you are going to go from this end, you want to make sure you put a straw or something plastic there. You don't want to touch the crown at all. That's the most important. And there's a little bit of choke right here too. So when the bullet comes down the barrel, it's going to get a little bit smaller right at the end here where the crown is. So what I'm going to do is I always believe in clearing a weapon before I show it to somebody. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's on safe, which it is. Finger off the trigger. We're going to hold it like this with our finger like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the source of the ammunition out of the pistol. So I'm going to drop the mag, and I'm pretending to drop it because I got it right here. There we go. So that's out. And then what we're going to do is push your safety down into the fire mode. Make sure your finger's off the trigger. Pull the slide back. And then you might want to lock the slide here with your thumb. So the slide stop. Now what you're going to do is look down the barrel, and you're going to physically look down there, make sure you see light, check the mag well. Okay, so this has been cleared. I don't like dropping a slide if there's not a round in the chamber, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down on this while holding the slide and gently let it go forward. I do that with 1911s, I do that with everything. So now what we're going to do is we'll put it back on safe. So I just like doing it that way because, you know, some 1911s have a very light trigger, you know, especially if you got a really good one. And you don't want to be dropping a slide on some of them. I'm not saying all of them you can't do it, but I'm just saying it's good etiquette to not drop a slide when there's no round in the chamber, no dummy round or anything like that. So on the range, yes. In combat, sure, you're going to drop that thing. But if you're just inspecting it like at home and stuff and you're doing dry fire practice or whatever, I don't do it with this, but I just take it out to the range. It's cheap enough to shoot anyway. But if you're just doing dry fire practice, let's say in your house with your 9 or your 40 or 10 millimeter or whatever, you know, the thing is that you've got dummy rounds in there. You can drop that slide. Even my Glock, I don't drop the slide unless I got a dummy round or something in it. So, and that's just personal preference. I'm not saying that if you do it, you're wrong. But yeah, so here's a Browning Buckmark. It's got about a 5.25 inch barrel. And I think I've showed this to you guys on videos and stuff already. Once again, I just want to stress the fact that I prefer subsonic rounds. Now, as far as the slide, you guys have to understand that some rounds don't have enough power to operate the slide. So right in between here and right around here is where you're going to experience the slide not coming back. So it just depends on what kind of rounds you're shooting. And if you do, then let's say that these don't here, then you just singly load them and use them for fun. And then you find your load that's going to operate that slide, and also find the ammo that's not going to jam up on you too. So for instance, these work fine. I keep my 22 very, very clean, and I have really good etiquette. So all of these work fine. They work the slide, and I don't have any problems with feeding issues or anything like that. Now these you have to singly load, obviously. They don't have enough power to operate the slide. Now, when it comes to higher velocity, breaking the sound barrier, the real potent loads here, this one here kind of gets hung up. So what I do with these velocitors here is sometimes I'll just use these for fun, just shoot one once in a while. You know, same with these other ones here. I just use them for testing and fun sometimes, like blowing up 1 liter bottles or whatever. And these actually do split them up pretty good. I mean, it's not like a big explosion, but it's kind of fun to watch. So anyway, this one here, I have a little bit of trouble with these. And the stingers work pretty good. The Super Maximum have been working pretty good too. As a lot of you know, Aguila is known for having, especially, you know, 9mm and other types of ammo, that they have hard primers, and you'll get a light primer strike or whatever. Now, I've never had any problems with using these in 22s, but that's something to be aware of. It's just kind of like looking at the case and seeing if everything's going okay. I haven't had any problems with these with like a light primer strike in my Buckmark yet. But I don't shoot them that much either, so I probably wouldn't know. If somebody shoots these a lot, they would probably know if they get light primer strikes or not. But I don't know if the rim is harder on these or not, but I'm just speaking about center fire cartridges and stuff. I know that the primers are a little harder. But with my revolvers and stuff like that, I don't have any problems with, say, like your steel case Toll Ammo or whatever, they're known for having hard primers, like in their 38 rounds. Don't have any problems with that because my Taurus revolver, it's got a real heavy trigger pull, so it's going to strike that primer. But revolvers is a whole nother subject. I'm just talking about 22s now. So anyway, we've got our mock speed. We got our mock speed right there. We got our subsonic that actually function in the pistol right here. And then we got ones that you're going to have to operate the slide every time you shoot one of them. So, and CB short, what I did is a video on this. Because the shell is so short, you have to load it a certain way. You have to push it a little bit forward when you singly load it in the magazine. So I've already done a video on that if you want to go look at that. So you can shoot these. You just got to shoot them singly. So you can't stack them in the mag because they're not going to work too well for you. So, but anyway, thank you very much for watching the video.